to episode 513C of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
Now listen, it's clear that not everyone that listens to this show, I mean obviously, is on our social media communities. So I'll tell you a story. Last Wednesday night, we recorded episode 513. It was a great episode, given it was on Wednesday and we had the public holiday, I think it was the Anzac Day stuff. I think ran through Monday, and we had the Tuesday game. On Anzac Day. So we did a combined episode on the Wednesday. It was about 2 hours 15, 2 hours 5 minutes, something like that. We did our usual thing where people send all their files in to me to compile, and then for some reason, Stepdad's file was soundless. It was 2 hours. It was the correct length and everything. File size was extremely, like a 12th of what it should have been, but yeah, it was blank. So when you have a 3-person podcast and 1/3 is completely blank, there's not a lot of it that makes a lot of fucking sense. So for the patrons, I did go through and extract some parts when it was just me and Glennie talking about a thing. And because they're pretty clear when you can see the waveforms and everything, when we're going.
I'll be honest, as the bloke that's normally the one that's a bit blank and not making much sense, it was a welcome change for it not to be me, just for a week. It's fucking delightful.
Yeah. So if you haven't if you're a patron and you haven't caught up on that yet, I did put up about a 35-minute highlight package about some of the with some of the stuff there with myself and Glennie that we could recover from it.
What was the TLDRs from last week? Fuck you, Ricky Stewart. You're a shit coach. In Canberra, you're a shit club. Because Whiten's.
But stop bitching about the fucking thing, and the way the media's reporting that Whiten thing is not the way it actually is, because he's not being paid the enormous amount of money now. It's what he's been offered, and he can choose to take an offer. Doesn't set your market value. So
what even happened last week?
Fuck. I mean, me and Glennie were talking about something about the Tigers
advertisement for Bathurst tourism.
Yeah, that we missed that because everyone had a lot to say about Bathurst. But there's some of it in there, believe me. But we put it. But we also, me and Glennie, we also went over a lot of the Bathurst stuff again during the membersode. during the game companion. I mean, we had a lot to say about. It's funny, we had a lot to say about Bathurst and other various things, Toowoomba, and probably what?
And a game of footy broke out.
Doing it for about an hour, and I was probably 20 minutes of footy in there. Yeah. The rest was just chatting about whatever. As easily as distracted as we are in the middle of the greatest game of probably the NRL era.
Toowoomba, Bathurst by a mountain.
Yes. I had all my observations about Toowoomba after going up there on Friday night, and
that's right. You slept over.
I slept over in Toowoomba.
In Bathurst.
In Bathurst. I slept over in the Bathurst Hotel in Toowoomba.
Bathurst North.
It was very good. There was surprisingly more life to that place than last time I was up there and in the centre.
Yeah.
So yeah, surprisingly so.
Did you say life or ice?
Both.
Well, maybe one causes the other. I don't know. But life. I'll tell you what. This rash on my arm. It's not
from Toowoomba.
It's not what you think. I was in the garden. I was in the garden, we had a long weekend up here.
Is it a rash, or is it just one single red point on the inside of your elbow?
It's multiple red points, and I tell you, I was in the garden doing
really
some,
were busy.
Plants, and we've got these plants here. When they scratch you, they're just fucked. Like the sap is like acid. And you don't realise till after it doesn't burn at the time, but then afterwards, a couple of hours later, it's just fucked. But yeah, it's crazy. You wouldn't believe it. I was in the garden doing pulling out weeds and fucking around with these plants and everything, and then 2 Thai prostitutes came and rubbed their vaginas on my arm, and the fucking rash. It's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, so that covers off what happened to 513. We had literally 2 people ask if we were okay. I'm trying to think of a word dozens that means 2.
A pair.
Cashy hit me up. Hey, is everything all right?
So that's 3.
Is everything all right? I'm like, yeah. Why? Oh, there's no podcast. I'm like, my standard response to
So
Shane
thank
Cash
you.
is, fuck you, Cashy, I hope you die. But I did explain to him the situation.
The last time we missed a show was when there was a death in the family.
Yeah, but did we miss a show or did we
put it off.
go with alternate
Glennie and I did some
personnel?
episodes.
Oh, right. Yeah, cool.
I don't know that we actually missed a show, though.
Did we?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think we did.
Fuck, that seems
Nate
slightly disrespectful.
Nate missed telling us that his parent had died, but we didn't actually miss a show.
No, we didn't miss anything that time. I straight batted that one.
Oh, fuck, please.
and like and no one knew anything about it until like fucking. It was months later, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't months, but it was enough of a period of time for me to finally understand the level of sociopath that you are.
Glennie, the ability to compartmentalise one's feelings effectively so as to go about one's day and one's other responsibilities
What
does not make
about
one a
this
sociopath.
cunt? What about this cunt being the one that stands up for you? Fuck
It's
me.
it's one of the few benefits of fucking turbo autism. Glenn.
Yeah, okay.
So
What a surprise! Your fucking wingman is this cunt. Fuck off.
Hey, Glennie, if everyone you meet's the weirdo,
yep.
No, it's not everyone though. It's
maybe.
just you two.
oh, look, did you say some dreadful things about Cashy?
Oh well, he's a cunt. There's nothing autistic about him. He's just a
What
cunt.
about
I've
Malaysian
heard
people, Turkish
Yeah.
people? I mean, there is a pattern here.
Entire
people,
races.
Stepdad.
Yeah.
I mean, Glennie. I mean,
But it's still not
please
everyone.
interject. If we're lying, please interject.
It's
and
still
tell us
not
we're
everyone,
lying.
is it?
From time to time, you're kids.
People, look, don't even get me fucking started. Don't even get me started. I tell you what. No, listen. A man's trying to have a crack at touch football, right? Plays touch football on Monday night with his eldest kid. I take a fucking intercept. It was glorious. Ryan Girdler was flowing through my veins. I took 2 steps. I couldn't get rid of the ball quick enough. On the inside, his old dreadlocks McGee. Glenn, inside, Glenn! And I fucking lobbed this ball like someone with no arms or legs would lob a ball. Okay?
Hang on.
It was
he
pretty
calls,
ordinary.
he calls you Glenn on the field.
Yeah, well, he doesn't call me Dad. How fucking... What do you...
Is he embarrassed?
Probably. He probably... Would you want to admit that I was your dad?
He could call you like a code name. Like, wouldn't it be amazing and make your life if he called you Mr. Jones?
Imagine. And then, as the balls hit the deck, the spray! The absolute spray that the kid has given me. 2 hands, Glenn! 2 hands! God!
Trying to like give him all fucking like Gene Miles fucking.
No, just a like lob it, like
yeah.
yeah. Nah, it was no good.
Yeah, that Benji flick pass
And,
shit isn't
you
as
know,
easy as it looks on telly, is it?
Listen, you know how I said I'm going to score a hat trick on Monday night in the members side?
Yeah.
So, I scored one. I had another one called back for a forward pass, which was horse shit. And, get this, you guys will love this. I've had one, I've caught the ball, and as I've taken half a step back and stepped onto the fucking touching goal line.
You mudded it.
I've been fucking robbed of a hat trick after the Tigers game. Oh my days!
The gentleman's hat trick.
The fucking imbecile hat trick.
You got 1 try.
There you go. The hat trick Lottie never got. Oh fucking hell! The imbecile hat trick. How good?
Well, I mean, no, but in all honesty, I mean, you were closer to a hat trick than Lottie ever got.
Yeah, it is fair.
Even though I think he got 2 tries in one game, didn't he?
Yes.
Did he get 2 tries in that first game?
No, he got 2 tries in several games.
Did he?
Yeah.
Now,
I remember he got the hat trick for Souths, but
Yeah, fuck off.
if you're still with us, we would like to especially welcome the listeners of the podcast that incorrectly puts us on their feed about barbaric sports.
Shout out to the league against cruelty of sports listeners. If you found us on their feed, then let me tell you,
Bullfighting's fucking awesome.
I think cockfighting is the shit, frankly.
And you know what? In Australia, we gamble on which hamster will come out of the clothes dryer alive.
Hey, in cockfighting, is there weight classes? Because I don't know if I think I'd have to punch above my weight, wouldn't I? We're not talking about those cocks.
No, like, you know how there's like, let's say for example, there's WWE.
Yeah.
Like that's you know, like for example, like me, you is like when they bring like the dwarfs into the fucking novelty fights.
Glennie's superhuman.
Oh, delightful.
You're fucking hornswoggle the hornswoggle of cockfighting, Glennie. Now,
here I go frantically fucking googling hornswoggle.
Now we need to I'll send you a picture. We probably need to talk about footy stuff though, right?
Let's
Did
go.
you Google it, Glennie? All right, cool.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I got it. Thanks very much.
You got it?
I get it, and I agree with it.
You got the reference?
Yep.
All right, good. It's the only one I can think of. I'm sure there's billions of other ones. Okay, so first thing we'll do, this is going to be one of those combo episodes again, where we'll do we'll run through the games very quickly, except for Glennie. The reason why we're late this week, Glennie had to be on this episode. At the start of the season, we sort of said, listen, life is busy. We get it. Sometimes, not everyone might be able to get on the call. You know, shit comes up, that's fine. 2 out of 3, we'll go. You know, we'll meatloaf it and put out the episode. But this week, though, Glennie was the one fucking putting us back, knocked us off Monday night, knocked us off Tuesday night. But he's the one this week of all weeks, it was absolutely essential.
I don't understand why.
But Glennie was here to take his victory. I mean, sure, I mean, like the patrons already heard you take a victory lap. It was great. I mean, the joy it was palpable. But the regular listeners, they need to hear it as well, Glennie.
Talk a lot of shit. I talk a lot of shit when I win.
Not as much as you'd think, though.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm gonna try harder.
Not only not as much as you'd think, but also not as much as you probably should.
Shout out to Chris Bailey,
it's been a while.
The great man Chris Bailey, who congratulated every single one of his Tigers following people on Twitter except me. At which point I said, my omission has been duly noted, to which he replied, you do not deserve nice things. And then he sends me a message going, just finished some episode. It was great to hear the joy in your voice. It's lovely. Lovely man. Eventually.
You know what? I call fucking shenanigans on that.
Which bit?
Him understanding and appreciating the emotion joy. Because he hates the Dolphins.
That's true.
Yeah, that is strange.
So, yeah, no. You know, I think that's just a lucky thing. Like, you know, special kids, you know, look at a dog occasionally and don't say moo. They get a woof out, and I think he's just lobbed into it this time, and it's lucky.
Wow.
So if you don't like the Dolphins, you don't understand joy.
Wow.
Put it out there.
Fucking how the turntables. Wow.
Stepdad's opening up his first Dairy Queen franchise on the peninsula.
That's it. Fucking ice cream and sponge cakes. Let's go.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, can you imagine?
No return policy on the sponge cakes.
Well, no, I mean, was there anyway before they started fucking them in the toilets?
It's a bottomless sponge. Come and fill it up as many times with soft serve as you want.
Oh,
like a sourdough starter.
It was real fucking real sour after a couple of days.
Or like a Chinese master sauce, like this sort of situation.
After 6 months, it starts to grow legs and have DNA. Game 1, let's go.
Game 1, okay.
Please change the subject.
Fuck, these are a long time ago now. On Thursday night, we had the Sharkies 44 defeating the Cowboys 6. Sharkies tries to Talakai, Hines, Ramian, Katoa, Tig Wilton, and a double to the Mut. Nico 6 conversions and 2 penalty goals. Cowboys a try to Felton and a conversion to Holmes.
Sharks were good. I thought they executed nicely, and I think they're progressing pretty well and are about where we expect them to be at this stage of the season with the talent that they have. More glaringly, though, the Cowboys were fucking putrid.
Yeah.
Absolutely putrid. They have fallen so fucking far from where they were last year, and I know they, fair to say they overachieved based on people's expectations of them at the start of the season last year, which led to higher expectations this year, but same coach, similar roster, a couple of injuries, yes, but the lack of competitiveness about them, and they were the side with the likes of Griffin Neame, Reuben Cotter, those guys, the one percenters. They're the first to a loose ball and cleaning up, doing the dirty work around. There's none of it.
Nah.
Yep. I would agree. And like the week before, we sort of saw maybe there were signs of life, and like there were glimpses at times through that game. I can't remember who they played now, but that was completely fool's gold, and they are just as bad as they've been all season, if not worse.
They seem to be a low energy team in defence, and last year it was their defence that won them games early on, as in people when especially up to their home ground, they turned that into a fucking fortress. But they went and played the Cowboys, and all of a sudden it was brick wall, brick wall, brick wall. We'll make mistakes, we'll defend those mistakes. Cool, get a repeat set, we'll turn you away 2-3 times. Come at us. They'd look lackadaisical in defence. And on the other side of that, Cronulla are doing a fucking beautiful job this year of sending multiple people at a defensive line, all in motion, all running beautiful lines. And that means that defences can't make quick decisions and put multiple players on who is obviously going to end up the ball carrier. So it means that much more of the defence for much longer before contact has to stick on their man, which leaves more gaps. And it was obvious, like it was 7 line breaks to 2 and 38 tackle breaks to the Sharks.
And if your effort in defence as a baseline is low, even then, at best, you're making one-on-one tackles. If the guy's not streaming through a fucking hole like Sydney Heads, it's...
And this is, I think, Cronulla are geared up to be that team and it doesn't even take a full tackle bust. Once a nose is through, the amount of just pure athletic ability they have around the ball on both sides of the field, especially on the edges,
especially Kennedy, backing up.
Yeah, exactly. So. The Cowboys' lack was exactly Cronulla's gain. They did very, very well. Anything else you want to say on that one, or straight to the socials?
No, socials.
I've got. I will say this is about the 67th time I've checked that my recording is progressing nicely. So I've got PTSD by association from last week.
Can vouch for mine as well.
I got no fucking idea. Let's fucking go. Let's see. Benny, he said, I sent a bag of dicks, but it looks like they already had them and just put jerseys on them. Gus, the North Queensland Turnstiles need to send some to a reserve grade. I bet they've got some lads down there with some passion left. What's to lose? Jordan, the Cows made a complete mockery of a game that was for the coach that bought them their first premiership in front of his wife and kids. Chad played a season too long. Todd doing his loyalty thing, though. There's a few Reggie's players who would look better in Cows colours. Josh said the only good thing to come out of this game for the Cowboys is that Felt fending off the mutt was a great highlight, and he gets to keep that forever. But the team also gets to take an L forever, so it all evens out. It's also rare to see a game like that doesn't have a disrespectful field goal kicked. Do even-numbered winning totals in blowout games look weird to anyone else now? Yes, they certainly fucking do.
That fend from Felt was fucking great, though.
That was.
I mean, very very highlight reel, like career highlight reel. You'll see it over and over in season launched fucking video packages and stuff like that on TV forevermore because it was so impressive.
Hopefully, earns him an Origin jersey.
Yeah, fucking lot of good it did for him, but the Eels 43. Speaking of disrespectful field goals, defeated the Knights 12. This one happened at, I can't remember what it's called, like the sperm bank or whatever the fuck it was called. What was it called? Sperm donor? Something? The Eels, tries. Dylan Brown, Mitchell Moses, Sean Russell, Junior Paulo, and Clint Gutherson for 3 tries. Moses, 7 conversions from as many attempts, a field goal, disrespectful. And the Knights, they're 12 tries to Croker and Young, and 2 conversions from as many attempts to Lachlan Miller.
Training run for Para.
Yeah,
absolutely destroyed them.
The Knights showed up in the first 5 minutes that they didn't show up. They proved that they had not fucking shown up at all. Like right at the start, like very early on in the piece, you could see it was not happening. It was not going to happen under any circumstances, and they were going to get and then ended up happening. So,
this is the other thing I remember we discussed last week, is that Knights players do not look at all impressed or happy to have Kalen Ponga back in that side. And it was mentioned in a couple of the comments after the games as well, but I'd said, are players now afraid of running at him full pelt?
For being the one they rattled him to the point where it may
end his... that's it. Yeah. And I saw it a couple of times in this one and last week as well, that they sort of, held back or sort of, softened the blow, I guess, or whether it's subconsciously or not. Similar to the Cowboys, the Knights' defense was just fucking pitiful.
Yep.
It was lazy. They weren't moving forward. There was no effort or energy. There wasn't the intent that you'd want to see, and they were in such a good fucking place.
They had developed for themselves quite a strong baseline.
Yeah.
And level of performance over like the last sort of month to 6 weeks or whatever.
Like Frizzle was having a fucking resurgence. He was back to he's a rep player again level. Fitzgibbon was doing his thing through the middle. Even the fact that Jacko was going to be touching the ball, but just have a little bit of that bulldog in him. And now they're rolling over.
It says a lot about the way the Knights played, that I'm actually less impressed with Para's performance, given that they're up 36-6 with 20 minutes to go or so.
Yeah.
And they really, there was an opportunity there because the Knights were absolutely there to be slaughtered, and subconsciously or otherwise, I think Para took their foot off the pedal.
Yep.
And I think if Para hadn't have done that, there was absolutely nothing the Knights could have done to prevent 60.
Yeah.
Look,
there are a couple of times even when they were out by 30, that you can see where that line is for Moses. And I know he got a lot of shit for calling his teammates cunts and that sort of thing. But he cared just as much about burnt plays when they were up 30 points as he did at the beginning. And I don't hate that quality, especially in a half. The fact that they can be so far ahead and obviously going to run away with the match, but when something isn't executed properly or someone makes a poor decision, that he doesn't, he's not walking up to them and calling them a fuckhead or doing the Gutho thing where he's made up and starts to turn around and point fingers at every other cunt near him. But he is genuinely giving a spray to someone about, nah, that was fucked, that was da-da-da, I expect better.
Yeah.
Sign
of maturity, not before time.
Yeah, that's it. How much of this slide, and correlation is not always causality, but Ponga has come back into the side, and the Knights look woeful. They look good, serviceable for lots of the games without him. He has come back into the side, and they have looked dreadful.
Well, look, if you take any attitude out of it, like just like on sheer performance, the amended stats for this game said that he made 13 tackles and missed 8 tackles.
Yeah.
It's fucking game-changing in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably double the amount of missed tackles that the next worst player in the side defensively had in that game. During the game, the stat said he'd made 10, missed 11, so they must have gone through and,
given him a couple of flops.
Done some corrections, and that sort of thing. But look, this is not the socials, because it's not someone that's ever had anything to do. I've never seen the name before, but it just popped into my timeline. Someone must have retweeted it to either bag it or comment upon it. This is someone who was at the game, Knights fan, who I won't name, and they said, credit to the players that went over to the Knights Bay. Ponga had to be dragged over by Fitzy, palmed off his free headgear and walked off. What an utter flog. Golf and run at me fanboys. And obviously, that got a lot of comments. I mean, not knowing the person at all, people seem to think it's a continuation of like an agenda or whatever. But the replies indicate this person saying, as far as I could see, he was the only one of the team that didn't walk over without being prompted.
Yeah.
And don't expect them to look happy. Just acknowledge the commitment that the guys put in to travel down.
That's it, hey.
Because it's not close. Parramatta Game's not. It's not. It's not inter-suburb for Newcastle-based fans.
Not a nice place either.
Correct.
I don't know if I struggle to see how somebody can put up the numbers he has, and I know he's only been back a couple of weeks, and maybe they give him some grace, but I struggle to see how everyone's, they're losing players. Dom Young's going because he was offered money by the Roosters, and I'm not saying that the reason he didn't get paid is because of Ponga, but shit like that's got to weigh on their mind. We are losing players, or we're not signing other players because this guy is on ridiculous money and he's not doing anything.
Where's Ricky complaining about that Dom Young deal too, by the way?
Yeah, true.
Because Dom Young put a price tag on himself over the off-season that was fucking ridiculous for a winger, and especially so for him. And the Roosters did not pay that price tag. He went to the Roosters because he wants to win.
Yeah.
And he sees a better chance winning there than the Knights, so he'll take, similar and a little bit more money.
Yep.
To do that, much like Jacko's doing to go to Souths.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, silence from fucking,
Jai. He said, so the only games that Ponga has played and the Knights have won was a game he got knocked out in the first minute. Just saying. Zach.
That's damning.
Ponga. Gus, time for AOB to go. I know he wasn't on the pitch, but when a team defends like that, the coach has lost the dressing room. Wonder when the launching novelty will wear off as well. He's doing less than fucking up more each week. Time for a trip to reserve grade for a few as well, if you ask me. Fuck, there's some big calls to go to reserve grade this week. Jason, tell me Ponga's back without telling me Ponga's back. Danny, dear Union, please take Ponga. Pay him all you want. We'll be happy to release him. Absolute liability tonight. Not that anyone else played any better. I saw this match in person, and it would have been a better bargain to pay to have my nipples attached by jumper cables to a car battery. Fucking hell. Shane, the momentum the Knights seemed to have a few weeks ago has all but disappeared. Now Ponga is back. The Knights look like bastards from start to finish. Rob, Hodgson is showing shades of Farah. All this drifting across the line and not delivering the ball to the playmakers. Even with a win like this, it's hard to justify his inclusion. When tackles, missed tackles, and nearly every stat is comparable to Hands, but with the addition of a complete slowdown of our offense. You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
Moving on to the second game on Friday night, and it was the Rabbitohs 32 defeating the Broncos 6 in Suncorp Stadium. The Rabbitohs, their 32 came from hat-trick to Campbell Graham, a double to Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker with the other try, Latrell 4 of 6 conversions. The Broncos side, they scored one try through Jesse Arthurs and a penalty goal to Adam Reynolds.
I think plenty of people wondering where the Broncos stood against the better teams in the competition. Outside of a round one win against Penrith, the season's now settling into a bit of a rhythm, and I think it's clear where the Broncos stand against the top tier of sides. They're a ways off, and I think we've probably spoken about it a number of times over the last 3 or 4 weeks, where they've been getting results, but there's a patchiness.
Statistically completing poorly and making a lot of errors and stuff.
And a patchiness to their play. Whereas you come up against a side like South and you just cannot afford to be that loose. And it shows. It showed in the result, and it showed the way, the Rabbitohs went about their business, and they had extra time and space roomed and made the yards through the middle because the Broncos they're loose and the talent of Reynolds and Walsh and Carrigan and those Haas and all those guys, it can paper over some cracks against the Tigers or you know, some of the lesser lights of the competition or other sides when they're off their game. As the season gets to the pointy end and come finals time, teams are going to be at their final form and at their best. And the Broncos have got a hell of a lot of improvement to get to that level.
They've always played all their games at home as well, almost.
Yeah.
All their games at home. So at some point that part of the draw is going to turn around on them as well. And they're going to have some real adversity where they're playing some of the better teams in the competition, you know, more hostile environments. I mean, the season's really, really well tailored towards them in terms of travel. They still don't do a fuck of a lot, even when they do have to leave home. But you know, that sort of thing is going to turn. I think they're a fake team, and they need to, you know, and the flat track bullies of 2023. And you know, I guess we'll see what happens when it gets to the pointy end, and if they. I don't expect them to have like a massive tumble like last year, but I do expect them to you know, fall back into the pack a bit though.
Interested to get your thoughts. Campbell Graham, there's lots of talk about him playing Origin, and
I think he's a fucking lock. Like he's absolutely locked to play Origin. Like,
but he is outstanding in that side, right?
Yeah.
You know what?
I think he's made himself undeniable.
I would like a time machine, and I would prefer him at lock rather than Paul Gallen. That's how much of a fucking lock he is.
Yeah.
My point is, though, Origin aside, and I think he's, you know, on form, has to be picked. But anyway, in any other side, in my humble opinion, he's a solid workman-like first grader. Solid first grader. In that South side, they extract every fucking essence, every last drop of skill and ability, and put him in positions consistently to be successful and thrive due to the players around him. But if you put him in...
He builds himself some of the success though as well. I mean, he's not like he's Alex Johnson when he's getting the fucking ball and he just has to fall over the line. Yeah. I mean, he's actually got it. I mean, he's got to score the tries a lot of the time.
He's not Darius playing outside Inglis.
And his defense.
No, not to that level. Not to that level. But he's.
I think you take it back and you're being disrespectful.
No, I'm not taking it back.
Fucking, you're a Queenslander trying to talk his stocks down so he doesn't come up and fucking rape you in Origin. I see what's happening here.
Motherfucker, you're the one calling him Bjorn Borg. Fucking, and I'm disrespecting him.
I want to take credit. Yeah, he was in a slump then, and look what happened after that. Fucking absolute.
You're going to take full credit for it.
Exponential fucking hockey stick graph of improvement in his play. I demand 6% of his fucking contract value.
I think you can say that about absolutely any player. Like, Souths are in such good fucking form at the moment. Let me give you an example. Adam Reynolds made the grand final with Souths. You take him out of that team and put him in a bog average team like the Broncos.
I was trying to make an actual point. He comes just fucking rubbishing it.
No, but I'm serious. Like, I get what you're saying, but the same can be said for absolutely any player going from a top tier team to say, oh, you put him in another side. Look at the fucking Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are a shining example of that at the moment.
Take a kick out.
Yeah. Who had, like, he was close to the best forward in the comp last year. And now he's fucking busted. He's a workman-like second rower who's injured all the time.
Point taken.
Yeah, like Luke Garner. I mean, killed the West Tigers last year. Now, can't crack first grade.
No, you sold me, Nate. Well done.
But
look, Campbell Graham, first player pick to fucking Origin. I mean, especially when you know you're going to get, Latrell's going to be in there around him.
Yep.
You're going to, Cam's going to be in there.
Yep.
Around him.
Cook's going to be there.
Cooks, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely fucking no-brainer selection as far as I'm concerned. And what a treat picking a fucking centre to play centre.
Yeah, that's it.
For the first time in about fucking 6 series.
But isn't it also nice to have some options?
Yeah.
Because,
fuck yeah.
like...
No chance of Gutho getting thrown into centre because 10 guys are injured in front of him.
Wow.
But that was it. Okay, cool. I'm happy with fucking Turbo and White in the centres. Oh fuck, they're both injured. But there's no actual centres, so Gutho is.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking hell. I think the Broncos and Souths are almost a reverse version of Souths and Penrith, in that it was very nice for Souths to go into a situation where someone in the other team, a half in the other team, cared far more about them than they did about him. And I know they all love Renault and they're all mates and they had some great years together. But it was pretty obvious that he cared way more about beating them as people than they cared about beating him as a person.
Yeah.
And he didn't brain snap to the level that Cody would have usually. But there were some uncharacteristic things, and you could see he was getting flustered.
He doesn't have it in his game at all to go Cody level.
No.
He doesn't, but he has it in his game to go fucking Brooks level. Like the kicks out on the full and just dumb shit.
Yeah.
Whereas he really should be doing fucking 40-20s every set and all of that shit that he can do. But they were in his fucking head. Anything else you boys want to add on that one?
No.
Soch.
Lachlan, this is a true one. He said, I don't think you have to be a Broncos fan to be a little frightened by South Sydney tonight. Liam, Special Agent Madden finally getting into his work to infiltrate the Broncos and turn them into the West Tigers. Also worth mentioning Billy Walters, who's a natural at this, and sleeper agent Martin Tapau, who had to play the long game via Manly to get there.
Fucking tried to tell you about Billy Walters and everyone laughed at me.
Jason.
What are you talking about? We all knew you were shit. No one said otherwise. What are you talking about?
There's some Billy Walters sympathisers out there.
Bullshit. Who was celebrating that signing?
Go and have a look in the replies to that comment. And someone points out that, like, in the time that Billy Walters was off the field, South scored 5 tries.
Well,
he's a brick wall. Jason. This game at the beginning looked like it could have been all time, then South just absolutely dominated us, couldn't defend our line at all. Toto, he said, went as expected, matched them in the first half, rolled in the second. It was good to see where we stand against the premiership faves and what we needed to work on after a pretty favourable draw. Matthew, Broncos are a young team with a good general in charge, Reynolds, meaning they will go close. Missing 2 of their top flight players tonight, which a premiership team should be able to cover. Was hoping for a more even competition, but the Bunnies are playing like premiers. Thomas said, I don't care what this means in terms of the rest of the year. Being from Brisbane, but supporting South means this was one of the most important games of the year. Hashtag fuck the Broncos.
Hashtag indeed. Now we move down to Wagga Wagga, where there was a fucking robbery where the Canberra Raiders 31 defeated the Dolphins 30. The Raiders 31, their tries came through Jared Croker, Jack Whiten, Jordan Rapiner, Sebastian Chris and Jamal Fogarty. Croker 3 conversions and 2 penalty goals, the field goal going to Fogarty. Dolphins tries 2, Aitken, the Hammer, Jesse Bromwich and a double to Lemuelu. Osako 5 conversions.
Should we start this by pointing out exactly what the NRL has come and admitted after the fact?
Yeah, there was a knock on by a Canberra player, 3 tackles before the winning field goal was kicked, and I saw people on Twitter say at the time, like, called it live, and yeah, there's it didn't happen on the play of the field goal. There's no chance of reviewing anything, and the Raiders scraped out a win, because this is another one where they were fairly in control. Dolphins, another very poor start like they did last week.
Yeah.
And again, they came back. They never got to the stage where they were leading or anything, but they got it back to the point where it went to Golden Point, and
look,
where the robbery occurred.
The fucking lime green crocodile tears are the perfect cover up for a robbery, and there's no better place for it.
That was quite nice too. I thought. Like,
no better place
not the Ricky Stewart stuff.
No.
Like, fuck that guy. I mean, the fucking nerve of that guy to start blubbering in the press conference about Whiten when he'd been such a cunt the week before and created all the headlines against him through the week. I mean, fuck that guy. But, like, the way that Whiten was speaking on the sideline after the game, And when he got overcome with emotion, talking about, what it meant, playing at Canberra and finishing the year off and the guys he played with and everything, that shit was fucking great. I fucking love that shit. Love it.
Fuck yeah.
But, oh my God, fuck up, Ricky Stewart, you fucking weak-gutted dog.
Wagga Wagga is a perfect place for a robbery. And, look, I think the Dolphins, concerning for 2 weeks in a row for them to give up some pretty decent score lines and then try and run them down. In the end...
I'm going to be furious.
You think so?
Furious.
Yeah.
Ropeable.
It's enough to turn him off a gilf.
Well, I doubt that. I think that's concerning. They've certainly got the ability to right the ship, and this was, in the end, it turned out an ultra competitive result, but a slightly better start, and they probably get the result because the Raiders were they were there to be beaten towards the end of that game, and I think the Dolphins just gave them too much start.
Yeah, and on the flip side as well, I mean, the Dolphins were there to be fucking flogged as well after the start that they conceded, and the Raiders, did what they did. I mean, Whiten had a strong game. You could see he was just pumped for it. Like, I mean, he was like wanted the ultra involvement in everything, and
it does fascinate me why players have games like this, and it goes to, a lot of the times we sit here and every week we talk and critique and criticise and all these things, but it's just a reminder of how fucking difficult it is to get up for a physical game like footy every week, where you're essentially, your job is to go out there and get belted and keep going. That it takes such a fucking dominant occasion, like leaving the club where you've spent your entire career, to bring out the best in you. And everyone, why didn't we get that every week? And if you want to be one of the best, you play like that all the time, and all this stuff. It's not fucking easy, and it takes a special sort of person to do it. But it was a good game by White, and just sad that it came at the wrong time.
And Dolphins, again, I mean, they can walk away and say, listen, we know exactly what we've got to fix up here.
Yeah, that's it.
Sure.
Our starts the last 2 weeks have been fucking unacceptable. And it's just not good enough. They can't come back every time.
That's it. David. Another good comeback, but we're developing a nasty habit of not showing up for large chunks of the games. Jennings need to go with new back and healthy. Too much of a liability. Katoa is impressing me more and more with each passing week, though. Probably said that already this season, but still rings true. Jason. Both teams made mistakes. Both teams showed a complete inability to defend their mistakes. Jake. Nothing more to say other than how the fuck is Elliot Whitehead anywhere near a first grade team? Back any second rower in front of him for your multis. There you go. Oof. Fucking hell.
Gee, turn on him. There was a time there where he was the only guy keeping that fucking team intact on the field.
Nasty.
How are the turns table? Okay, is that it for the socials? No one.
That's it.
All right, Gold Coast Titans 26 defeated the mighty Manly Seas Eagles 10. The Titans 26 came through a double to Khan Pereira. Dave Fafita, Philip Sami, and Cleese Haas for tries. Manly tried to Sean Kepi, a conversion to Ruben Garrick, and 2 penalty goals to Ruben Garrick. Shit conditions, fucking horrible, disappointing fucking performance. This was it wasn't an important game, but it was an important 2 points, and that really needed to be banked. And just the general attitude overall was not fucking great. And the player that's vexing me at the moment is fucking Cooper Johns. I mean, we know he's not a fucking amazing player. He's not the greatest player in the world. But you would think that somewhere up on the next branch of his family tree, he could probably come up with 1, maybe even 2 excellent representative premiership fucking winning halves that could tell him can't stop drifting fucking sideways and doing nothing, because a fucking half that drifts sideways in the game today is an absolute waste of fucking space.
Correct.
Dig into, just run straight. I mean, they were aided in their poor performance was aided and abetted by the fact that we rested Tommy this week. And look, maybe in hindsight that was a good move, but I also think that, I mean, people can say, he's been carrying injury, blah blah blah. The guy's averaging 189 meters this year per game, and I think if you take that 189 meters out of any fucking any side, I mean that's a solid fucking chunk of just general purpose fucking yardage. And
how much of that's kick return though?
He takes the fucking... He's been taking the hard ones into the fucking teeth as well. I mean, he's like...
No, but what I'm saying is...
Yep.
Sure, you can say, okay, well, Jason Tomilolo gives you this many metres a week, and you can't replace that. To replace a fullback, though, you should expect that a fair chunk of what they do is going to be kick return.
Yeah, I should have to... Well, yeah, but I mean, a lot of the time they don't kick to him, though. They mostly go to Saab, remember?
Yeah, fair point.
So he's not doing a lot of it. Usually he's taking, like, the second or third... And that's more like a yardage, like, straight, generally straight up the guts, giving the forward the rest sort of thing. But so him being out and Cooper Johns doing his thing, it just kind of nullified the left hand side. They were just a non-entity of doing anything, and it really reminded me of back to the days after Blake Green, like just after Blake Green left, and like Daly was the only option there, so they knew that was the only option, and so they could shut things down. But this is a game where they should have gone up, to a good lead, like a 12 to 14 point lead. They had two absolute, not guaranteed tries, but, you would think 8 out of 10 times their tries. Poor finishing in the first one by Saab, poor finishing by fucking TWiL in the second one. Robbed them of two tries to start the game. And from there, we had the absolute worst minute of football that I've seen in a long time from fucking Toff Sipley, where he came on the field about fucking... probably 33 minutes in, I think, or no, but it's probably about 30 on the dot. Came in, ran onto the field, first tackle, he gets fucking sin binned for a crusher where they said that he repositioned his feet and then went in harder, or jumped off the ground and went in harder. Yeah. I think that was just one of those, it's a contact sport. The player backs into the tackle and gets his head in the wrong position. It's just, it's a clusterfuck. But these days, players have by and large managed to figure out how to let the head sort of pop free, kind of thing.
Yep.
So he's completely his fault. He gets sent to the sin bin. Titans get their points for the first half in the period of time. And just absolutely fucking ridiculous. Actually, no, he went penalty. That's right, he went penalty. Then he went fucking sin bin, and and that was the end of it for half time. And when they finally did get back into the game early in the second half, had all the running, then Ben Cummins must be the most fucking. I think he's the most anti-football referee, most anti-rugby league referee in the game. The fucking nitpicky, ticky-tack shit that he responds to. And the Titans were very fucking happy to play his game by playing, just like lying down in every fucking tackle, seeing what they could get for a penalty. So, I mean, they're an anti-football team, and I swear, and if I said what I thought about Justin Holbrook and Tino Fasil Malawi, I'd be cancelled. But suffice to say, I don't respect them at all. I love that Cam Pereira. He's potentially going to be a very good player for the Titans. He's a good finisher and he's fast as fuck. Just a fucking 2 points that should have been banked, and just a performance where fucking not happy, Jan. And then fucking you get a injury to fucking Jake on top of that as well. That's going to have him out for like a month. So all in all, an absolute fucking shit afternoon at the fucking office. And unenjoyable.
With the Schuster, sorry, one question. With the Schuster situation,
yes,
and seeing how Foran's going for the Titans, the money that you're paying Schuster, what would they have lost by hanging on to Foran for another season or two?
Honestly, I don't think Foran was that great. The benefit of Foran in this game was just like the inside knowledge. I mean, he clearly the way where they were running.
Yeah,
he clearly said do this repeatedly.
You could very easily see that, like he was whispering in back play, tell them you think it's okay to be gay, and that's the secret. So.
But and look, the Schuster thing, well, I've never seen so much fucking misinformation in the media. Like it's funny how these things, like I don't know how. Like a thing starts, someone says it. Usually, it's on like 360. and then somehow it's kind of breathed into fucking fact, and then every other publication repeats it. The thing that I'm talking about specifically this time, they're going, "Oh, Schuster's on $800,000." He's fucking not. I can tell you for a fact he's on 600, and next year it goes up to 650. That's an absolute fucking fact. Like this, I don't know where this. Much. Yeah, I mean it is if he's fucking going to be injured all the time, but I mean it's just like it's like basic research. Like where does that fucking 800 come from? And everyone just repeats it because Paul Kent fucking says it.
Hold on for a second. What do we reckon Lachlan Ilias is on?
Don't know. No idea.
Because I don't reckon he's on 650. How the fuck is that cunt on 650?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, he's not going to be on 650. Well, he might be on 650 next year when he gets an early release to go to the West Tigers. But I don't know. But look, and the other thing as well, I mean, all these people are like, oh, these people are shitting on Schuster and blah, blah, blah. There's only one person who's had like negative stuff to say about Schuster, and that's an ex-employee of the club who had to get when they were terminated last year. They got the whole situation, security standing there while you box your shit, and frog marched out the door. That's the level of firing they got. I'm talking about Christy Fulton. Her on Facebook, she said some shit about him, talking shit about him. As far as like the things that like Siebes and Daly and O'Shea have been saying, it's clearly the message is crystal clear from those guys. It's like, we back you 100%. You got all the talent in the world, but
you're fat.
You're fat, and you're not. And the reason that you're fat is because you are not applying yourself to the level of sacrifice and fucking discipline that is required from a professional rugby league player. So that was like, from them, it was an intervention. If that's what it felt like.
Mm. Your potential and your talent is not at you. You are not Greg Inglis.
Yeah.
You can't turn up unfit and overs for a season and by round 5 be the best player in the competition. I'm sorry.
In fucking yoke. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Or you can't be you can't be Alan Langer, where we know that on game day you're just going to fucking do the thing.
Yeah.
And we don't give a fuck how you train, because we know that on game day you're on. Yeah. He can't be trusted. He can't, and it's great. It's easy to be like the biggest half, playing against the kids and dominating them with your fucking no-look passes and stuff like that. But then there's a certain point, and I've been saying this I say this to my kids at school as well. I mean, there's a point where like natural ability and talent at what you're doing, eventually it runs. I mean, eventually you meet the standard of homework and schoolwork where that's not enough, and you actually have to put work in as well to fucking to knock it over. And he's at that point. He's reached that point. He's not playing against kids anymore. He's playing against men, and he needs to fucking apply himself with discipline and sacrifice, like all of the other players, like all the other players do.
Yep.
To see his talent reach its potential. Otherwise, he is going to fucking squander it at fucking Leichhardt, or he's going to squander it in England, or some bullshit. Or he's going to squander it out in fucking Group 6 somewhere, like he's going to fucking blow it.
Yeah, spot on.
So, sort your shit, cunt.
Yep. Lovely.
All right.
Hammers. He said, take that Harvard education and study these nuts. James. Harper and Saab are going to fund my next 5 films and put my kids through college. Fuck, we haven't seen a sure thing for first try scorers since the Blake Ashford chase.
I'm sorry, pal. That ends this week though. Harper's finally dropped.
On that note, James was kind enough when he says fund his next 5 films. The cunt is a genuine, bona fide filmmaker.
Did you watch it?
Oh man, I have no fucking time. I don't have time for that.
It's only it's short for 17 minutes or something like that. 20 minutes, bro.
Man, I got fucking roasted for asking for 20 minutes tonight to read my children a bedtime story. What do you think, Glennie? What do you think, Glennie would say?
Fucking river cunt.
Read a kid a story and you'll chuckle for a night. Teach a kid to read, and you can chuckle forever. How about that?
Yeah, true.
They're all old enough to read.
Oh yeah, but bond with your children. And they won't end up fucking roasting you on the football field because they respect you too much.
I know your son.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And he's going to fucking roast you no matter what, because, I mean, that's just in him.
Oh, I love it. But yes, no, I did see that everyone fucking loved it though, so well done.
Fucking excellent. And I said this privately to him, but like, no, he fucking did it. Like he's been at this for a long time.
Yep.
You know, from script to trying to get the money to make it and blah blah blah, and like he fucking did it.
Yeah, perfect.
That's fucking like, maximum respect. I fucking love it. It's awesome.
Fuck yeah, good shit. Cameron said the Titans are confirmed the GOATs of Queensland by taking the only dub for the weekend.
It's a fucking low bar. I mean, you just win on one random weekend where results fall your way and you're the GOAT of Queensland.
Well, yeah, nothing's hard in Queensland. Said, I feel for Manly if I don't get turbo fit.
Just wait for it. I'm waiting for the game. I'll tell you what was hard in Queensland.
I seen it.
If they don't get Turbo fit or sort their Schuster shit out, can't see it either. I think Turbo is broken, and as for the other, once a fatty, always a fatty. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Tell that to George Rose.
Okay. Tell that to Owen Craigie. Wait.
Has he just bit the bullet and become a body positivity activist yet?
George Rose?
Yeah.
At the moment, fuck, he looks like he ate Lizzo. That's it.
Is that him that I've been seeing on all those podcasts with the long hair?
I don't know who that is, but I know what you're talking about. That thing is fucking hilarious. with the Star Wars overdub. Oh my god, did I laugh? Anyway, Glennie, are you ready?
Let's go. All yours. The floor is yours.
West Tigers 12 defeat the Penrith Panthers 8. Out there in the place where nothing in the sporting world ever happens until the Panthers take their L's there. Carrington Park, Bathurst. The Tigers tries to wake him. And Nofaluma in his that was his 100th try, wasn't it?
Yes.
For the Tig Pies. I mean, anniversary try. Wakeham 1 conversion. Wakeham 1 penalty goal. Panthers try to a Tiger anyway. Tyrone Peachy. And,
hang on a sec.
And Crichton with a conversion and a penalty goal. Glennie, the floor is yours.
Listen, on Saturday night, 17 elite-level human beings traipsed onto a paddock in a place where there's a mountain, a racetrack, and no hope of prosperity. And these fucking heroes gave the hapless souls of Bathurst, who otherwise have nothing to live for out there in a fucking absolute shithole of a location. They gave them a religious experience. And I was there, and I'll tell you what was hard in Queensland. My tiny micro penis was as hard. You could. It was flint-like, I can tell you. Just watching the Tigers, and Luke Brooks in particular, really. The only other time he's played like that in his career was his debut game. And we've waited something like 240 fucking games or whatever many games he's played to see something like that again. 240 20s.
Can I just
a try assist? No, the floor is
mine.
Mine. The floor is mine.
Have I never heard you say the word Daybooo before? Because it sounds like you spell it Daybooo.
The floor is still mine.
Sorry, keep going.
Look, conditions in reality are a great leveller. But the Tigers did play, to the surprise of most, including myself, a perfect wet weather game. And Dream Buller, the tackle, and the fact that Cleary spilt the ball when it looked like and it felt like the Panthers were just one play away from snatching it and leaving the shithole of Bathurst with a victory.
And to be honest, like the way that they have played, against the Broncos, World Club Challenge, Souths, like the games with frantic endings.
And you know what the Tigers don't do well? Frantic endings. But
I should say play football.
Well, that too. Frantic endings whilst playing football, Tigers haven't historically been great at, let's be real. But the biggest thing for me, I'll be honest with you, is as the ball trickled over the sideline, the siren went, and fucking Glennie says 273 days of misery are over. It's fairly confronting. You fucking haven't cracked it for a win for almost a fucking year. It's a pretty sad state of affairs, but I was very happy with the win. I thought Appy was great. He was clearly bang up for the contest. Yeah.
The very definition of what we call, what we refer to as revenge games.
Yeah. Brooks already said, I thought Wakeham was solid. I think over time, with more time in first grade, I think he's going to be a serviceable 6. I don't think he's a superstar, and I don't think he's going to be a match winner, but he's settling in, slowly but surely into first grade. The only wrinkle to that is Dane Laurie is killing it in reserve grade playing 5'8".
Is he legitimately killing it?
That's what's that, 3 weeks in a row or whatever, and
2,
all reports is so how he goes defensively, Dane Laurie I'm talking, Wakeham's a bigger body and defensively is physically probably can handle a larger defensive workload, whereas Dane Laurie in the front line at 6 is something I'm prepared to see it happen given his attacking ability, but defensively that he'll be tested out fairly solidly. So, as I said, I think he's going to have to play 5'8" because the one jersey's now Bullers to lose. He's a good story. And he's been thrown in there and he's taking that opportunity. I thought He's
played 2 games in 2, and let's say there's shit weather as well. This kid's like 17, playing fullback, a position where you're handling all the high balls, and especially
in those conditions against Cleary,
some fucking monsters in that game particularly, and he acquitted himself. He played great. Not even any asterisks on it or anything. He looks legit good.
Can I get your thoughts? We've had a question in the comments here, sort of pertaining to him and around, if he was coming through, what the fuck have they been doing with Staines, with Laurie? And I get that, even last year or the year before, he's young now, and he was even younger then, and just definitely not ready. But
he's 17. I don't think they had any view to play him in first grade for at least 2 seasons.
Yeah, okay.
It was desperate. It was a desperate move that paid off.
But is it now? Do you go, well, okay, great, thanks, you've had your exposure and it was good, but back to Reggie's and bide your time and come back through in a bit? Not
the way he's been playing.
Yeah, I think he's got to show cracks or difficulty handling the contact and the week in week out grind
and keep in mind
tackling men.
And this is going to sound like me shitting on the Tigers. It's the Tigers though. It's not Penrith where he's come in to replace Dylan Edwards or something, and he can fuck off back. At the end of the day, for whatever reason, Laurie's fallen foul of the coaching staff. Staines is hurt. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not give him a crack?
Good point. Nice. Is there anything else you want to say on that one?
No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and look, if you want to get the live reaction as the realization dawns, Patreon.com/TWiL.
Safe to say, if anyone from Bathurst was listening, they probably stopped.
Someone said in the comments, if you're from Bathurst, you need to listen to this. I can't remember us going that hard on Bathurst, did we?
We did go pretty hard.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because I said I'd never been there and I was asking you about Bathurst.
Yeah.
And then I think you just gave me the tour.
I'm pretty sure I said, fuck Bathurst and everyone that lives there or is from there or something. I can't remember.
But what actually happened is that the West Tigers actually didn't matter in this game.
Oh my God, this again.
Nothing. It was like the
Can you cut his recording again?
Oh, sorry, I can't hear. Hey, stepdad, I think you might cut out.
Yeah, this is where
not recording.
This is where the blank needs to come in.
realistically, Glennie's just spent all this time talking about how proud he is of Brooks and this young up-and-coming superstar and the effort, and Appy looked good. The result of this game was due to apathy. And it was apathy on Penrith's half. I'd seen a little bit of it creeping into games where they've been fortunate enough to have just like blanket talent across the field. And they still had to work hard. Back-to-back premierships, unheralded event. But now they're not working hard. And they're going into games expecting to win, especially against opposition like the Tigers.
All your bullshit aside, I legitimately feel like they expected to show up and win in that game.
Exactly.
And I can't say that I've said that about Penrith because they have a system but this game, I legit feel like they showed up expecting to just play and win without trying.
And I think some of the cracks have been papered over in the last little while. You know, there's just some individual brilliance by Crichton. You know, scored them a win, and there's been a couple of things that aren't there, and I'm talking more so about their defence. I've said this a couple of times, but there's always been this misconception about them that they're this brilliant attacking side, and because Cleary's a big name half, that it has to be around the attack and his attack and points coming, and that's how they beat everybody. But they built their back-to-back seasons on just unequalled and unrivaled defence in the competition. And that's gone. The speed of their defensive line, the intent of their defensive line isn't there. And the respect for the ball in attack isn't there. They were patient and quite happy to sit back and just take boring, territorially smart and effective sets over and over and over and over, and wear teams down over the course of 80 minutes. As soon as they got a sniff into opposition territory, they were getting repeat sets and continuing pressure. How many games did Penrith play over the last couple of years where you'd see them, they'd just camp on an opposition's try line and they'd be there for 2, 3, 4 sets and come away with no points, and where that would normally completely headfuck a team, they'd be completely fine with that. Okay, we've just taken 4 sets of juice out of you. Just back. And then they'd work their way back there again. That game plan's now completely gone, and it's back to this rushed, try and score every set style of football. And that's not where they're going to be effective. So I really hope that this game was the wake-up call that they needed to get their heads back into defence and realise that even if you are the best team in the competition, even if you are stocked so full of fucking representative players, that you need to go out there and work harder than your opposition every single fucking week. And that's the only way you win football games.
Also, as a neutral, you have to remember that the conditions were pretty poor. And that's always an not an equaliser, but certainly something that brings teams closer together. Where there's a gap in just in raw attacking talent, and the Tigers though, this is a culmination. This is the third game of 3 where they have played excellent possession, territorial, disciplined games, getting themselves into the position to score points. And the thing is, they scored about as many points as they have in those games.
Yeah.
But this time, they actually defended like fucking wild beasts.
Do you know who's a walking conditions? Tyrone fucking Peachy.
Well, I mean, he was top point scorer for the Penny Panthers in this game. I mean...
Yeah, also top fuckhead plays at the end. But anyway, Josh, he said, welcome to week 1 of Glennie's new podcast, Live, Laugh, Toaster Bath, with special guest stepdad. Todd, he said, was it the Appy Naden revenge game, the Noffer effect, or Peachy the cancer? Whatever it was, I'm here for it. Old school, wet, muddy game, fantastic. Ricky, simple economics, really. The team with the more expensive halfback won. Oh, there we go. And
Love it.
That was, consider the vast majority of the comments were congratulating Glennie. So I was happy with the Dairy Queen vibes in our comments section.
Love it.
Right. The Roosters 14 defeated the Warriors 0 at Mount Smart Stadium. The Roosters 14 tries to Nat Butcher and Satili Tupanua. Swali 2 conversions and a penalty goal. The Warriors nothing.
I don't have a great deal to say about this game other than that it's a tough place to go and win. There's a good crowd of scaffolders there cheering on the Warriors. And
I got to say credit to the scaffolders, and it's lucky they were scaffolders too, that they could actually install scaffolding above their seats to stop the fucking rain that was coming in fucking sideways. Like it was probably the worst conditions of the round. And
that's saying something.
The fact that the fans were there until like the 75th minute before they started leaving was a massive credit to the fan base, because those conditions were shit.
Or is it an absolutely fucking massive slight on New Zealand's horrendous public transport system that there was no way for them to leave?
Do they have public transport in New Zealand?
Not that I've seen.
Those fucking wagons with the old cunt with the grey beard on it.
But that only runs between Hobbiton and fucking Christchurch.
What a fucking unimaginative fucking place name.
Yeah, that's not there.
Had the Christians just given up by then? They conquered it, and they're not naming it after kings or queens anymore. They've just gone, fucking Christ Church. Jesus Christ, be better. I want to say, I think
nothing to say about the game, but we will shit on New Zealand.
That's what we do.
Last week, and I was concerned about it when it happened. Last week has broken the Warriors. It took too much out of them. It took too much in terms of troops. I think it took a lot out of them in terms of energy. If they can sustain or get back to close to where they've been for the rest of the season, I will be very, very surprised. I think last week...
I don't think they weren't bad in this game. I mean, there was some tremendous defence from the Roosters to save tries. But the Warriors, I mean, they gave themselves... They had opportunities in this game. And they just couldn't capitalise on them. And I would like to give more credit to the Roosters' defence for stopping those opportunities than saying, like, yeah, and especially considering, like you said, like the injuries and the guys that the Warriors had out. I think despite that, they actually played, pretty well. And I don't think it was just like more the conditions and the actual defence of the Roosters that prevented anything more eventuating for them. I think that they're, while they may be dead, I don't think this was necessarily the evidence of it.
It's not the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
But consider the game they played against Melbourne. That
trending down. You'd say they're trending down, right?
To deal with that Roosters side. But we shall see.
Yeah, the Roosters have ended the career of young Sam Walker, and they fucking feed off that shit.
Yeah,
ending the careers of young promising halves.
Is that like their Highlander?
Yeah. It's like Cooper Cronk fucking pulling the strings in the background.
Oh, God. Craig, he said, that's the worst officiating I've ever seen. Comments?
Didn't see the Titans game.
The only people I think that would agree with that would be the Kiwi commentators. Fucking bleating about decisions.
Jared said, dark, wet and stormy. Just how I like my women. And the Chooks had a win without Radley in the bin.
That was the most disappointing aspect of the game, because you see that guy.
I was just going to say that.
With the bin.
I tell you, the Warriors fans are like up there with the fucking, probably the goats of fucking, banners and shit like that in the NRL, I reckon, for a fan base. There's no giggity or fucking GST shit over there.
God. Simon, with Tohu, Jazz and Barnett out on a wet day, this was always going to be tough for the boys at home. Still got 21,000 fans. NRL thinks Anzac game is an Australian-only fixture. Fuck Peter Volandis and the horse he rode in on. Fuck injuries and fuck the Bunnies. Bring on the Panthers in our next home game in fuck the Broncos Stadium. Love and best wishes. There you go.
Who was that?
That was Simon.
Why Simon fucked the Bunnies? What do they have to do with the price of eggs?
But I don't know.
They got nothing to do with this.
I don't know.
I mean, look, believe me, I'm all against it. I mean, kick him out again, by all means. Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm with you, brother, but I just didn't understand where it... Why they got sprayed in the drive-by just then.
Look, if this show had to explain every fucking
random
stray bullet that fucking clipped a bystander,
when there's so many collected jihads into one space, everyone's bound to cop a bullet.
I feel like Mike Stevenson and Kurt Mann might begin a class action.
it's fucking, we're going to get a comment on a rugby league game, and then fuck the Starlight Foundation.
Right. Final game.
Yes.
The Doggies 18 defeat the Dragons 16 down at Wynn Stadium. The Doggies 18 came through tries. A chip and chase try to Corey Waddell, and a double to Jake Averillo. Just fucking pure fucking speed and skill.
Yeah.
Burton a conversion, Averillo a conversion, Burton a penalty goal. The Dragons 16 tries to Fenai, Couchman, and his brother Max Fenai. 2 conversions from 3 attempts to Zach Lomax.
It says a little bit about the Bulldogs' attacking potency that Waddell's slipping chip and chases in. I think this was an important win for the Dogs. Much has been said about the clunky start they've had to the season, given their off-season recruiting and some of the injuries they've had, and Reynolds been thrown in at 6. I was a bit dubious about. I know it was a hit with the fan base for nostalgia reasons, but I thought he was pretty reasonable without being an absolute standout. I thought he was solid.
Did I see something, a stat or something, that he's never lost to the Dragons?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that makes the selection, more understandable. He's obviously got some kind of fucking weird juju in there.
Fuck, that triggers me. That triggers me so hard. That, that's actually a thing, and it's probably gone through the fucking team's mind when they've picked him.
Yeah.
Oh.
You mentioned Averillo. He's played multiple positions for the Dogs over the last few seasons, and there was a time there where it looked like fullback was going to be his best spot, and he's spent time on the wing in the centres, and I think he might have even filled in at 6 a couple of times. His acceleration he got some reasonable service to get on, to start, albeit flat-footed on the outside of the opposition wing of the Dragons winger, and just absolutely fucking burnt him.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
Doggies fans hate him. They've been shitting on him his entire. They've been shitting on him his entire career, and now you're going to start to see him talk about him with some more positivity. And it's our job as guardians of the integrity of rugby league. It's our job to not let him get away with this bullshit.
Well, I don't understand. Clearly, I don't think he's a 6 by any stretch. But fullback, yeah, I don't hate him as a fullback. And on the wing, bit of space and speed. Defensively, I think he might lack some some decision making that can only come with a lot of time at this level playing in the centres. But at the end of the day, speed and that acceleration is a real asset to the side, especially with the Fox out.
Yep,
that's it. Hey.
Once again, this is a tick in the column, or a cross on Ben Hunt. There was so much time where they only had to come up with one more try or something, and they were on top, and he had plenty of opportunity, attacking in good ball positions of the field, and it's one thing that he has to do it himself, but the other thing is he couldn't conjure up anything even resembling, a decisive, attacking movement. So, that's 2 weeks in a row now where he's had to be Mr. Clutch and he just hasn't been able to generate anything.
Nasty. What do we have on the socials for this little baby? Terry said, one-legged Burns shows up the Dragons outside backs. Matthew.
That was a fucking huge effort because he's out for like 5 weeks or something now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Braden Burns. He was on one leg for nearly that entire game. What did he do? Like MCL?
Oh, nasty.
He was fucked. He was on one leg clearly for almost the entire game. I mean, and there was times, and you see there's footage in the highlights of him chasing down breaks to like he almost that try. I can't remember which Phoenix it was that scored it down there on the left when he chased him and grabbed him and he couldn't. He sort of couldn't muscle him over the dead ball line, stop him from scoring the try. But I mean, he chased that try the whole way.
Yeah,
on one leg.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. Terry said Serraldo showed some coaching chops this game by hooking TPJ immediately after a disgusting offload, and when he came back on, just ran straight and hard with no passing, pushed the Dragons back. Jace said, I thought for sure we would drag them to our level and beat them with experience to lose. Nicholas said, Corey Waddell has got to be the most improved player. Ciro somehow turned him into a competent second rower. Jason said, a win is a win, but dear God, we seem to make it hard for ourselves. 7 line breaks to 3, and only win by 2 points is not good enough. Mind you, this is the same team that missed 50 tackles and still managed to win. Hashtag stats that make no sense. That's us.
Now listen, we had Josh Reynolds come up before half time where there was a player on the ground, I can't remember what it was, and he sort of, flopped on them and he was penalised. It didn't go any further than that, but he's penalised for high or late or whatever. And he proceeded to say to the referee, that's bullshit. And Grant Atkins just went fucking right. Took him back into the middle of the field, brought out the captain as well, and he said, listen, that guy, he's not the captain. He's not allowed to approach me anyway.
Yep.
But he says shit to me again this game, and he's going to sit down.
He's going. Yeah.
Yeah, have a talk to him at halftime. And I saw so many Doggies fans going, oh, fucking, kids don't care about hearing the word, bullshit. Bullshit's not a swear word. That was one I heard as well. And I'm going, guess what, motherfucker? Doesn't matter it doesn't matter if what he says was a swear word or wasn't. I mean, it was dissent against the decision of a referee, and what kids don't care about the word bullshit. I mean, my God, man, my kids have heard it plenty of times of me, just in general conversation or whatever. But the thing that we don't want kids to be doing on the field when they're playing their under sevens and whatever is telling the ref bullshit and back chatting the referee about decisions they made.
Yep.
And going on with that dissent shit. I mean, he could have been very easily fucking sat down for 10 minutes for it.
Yeah.
And this ridiculous, splitting of hairs, was it a swear word? It doesn't fucking matter.
I like Atkins out of all the referees. I still think he is the best we have at the moment, and I don't know why he fails to get Premier games.
Because it's a Cummins fucking mafia controls things, and that's why those dumb cunts fucking...
Yeah. And I like the way that he handles shit like this. I would have been happy if he went a step further and essentially explained, no, you're not the captain.
Yeah.
Fuck off, and by fuck off I mean sit down for 10.
Yeah.
Especially after that. Just nip it in the bud straight away. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Review's done.
Done. Okay. So, news stories. What happened this week in the week of news? I mean, the thing is, we've got the Josh Reynolds thing that we've done. We spoke about we spoke about Schuster as well during the game thing as well. So we've kind of woven a few of those into the actual game recaps themselves.
Yeah. There's a lot of fucking maybes at the moment and stuff around. Well, allegedly this is happening. The Whiten deal's happened. That was last week. I don't know that there's any actual fucking news.
Yeah, it's so funny. They tried, they're reporting that that Kyle Flanagan was a done deal and going to Manly, and then you had Gus come out on Twitter today saying, "Oh, that's bullshit. Never happened. There was we never spoke to anyone. We can't say anything about Manly people being interested in it because no one ever contacted us." Bullshit. Gus is he fucking spins shit so bad, so much it's ridiculous. Now, what I'm hearing from inside of the fucking Manly is that Flano was going to come, but only for the rest of the year as a stopgap measure to basically for Origin and also to be an alternative to Cooper Johns as in the halves, if Schuster's doesn't come right or, whatever. The fact of the matter is that Kyle Flanagan is off contract next year. If Manly actually really wanted him, ongoing, just fucking signed him for next year, a 2-year deal or something, and then agitated and done that thing that teams do to try and, conjure up an early release for the player if they're not happy, blah blah blah, which never happened. But the thing is with the Kyle Flanagan deal, Bulldogs were happy to let him go. Then they decided that they wanted us to send a player back their way. I don't know who was offered. I mean, I'm hoping it was like someone with a Christian name of Morgan. But for whatever reason, the Bulldogs didn't like that deal. And this Kyle Flanagan deal, it was only going to cost Manly $60,000 for the rest of the year because the Dogs were carrying most of the weight on that. And honestly, like as an alternative to Cooper Johns, fuck yeah. I'll be all for it. Last time the Roosters were in the top 4 was with fucking Kyle Flanagan as a halfback. Like, I'm all for it. But yeah, it's not going to happen. And I'm interested to see who we get over the next month because Siebes is talking about getting someone in because we only have 29 people in the in our top 30 at the moment. So there is a space that we need to fill before the end of June. And curious to see who that's going to be. I mean, there was a chance it could have been my boy Gordon Chankum Tom, but he's not. He's a development player, and as of next week, round 11, you can play development players. If we played him this week, you have to upgrade him to a top 30 player and spend more money and everything. And we've got him upgraded for top 30 next year, so it's crazy to spend the money. Just wait a week and then you can bring him in on $75,000 or whatever, whatever dev players are getting paid at. So I don't know. So yeah, it looks like the Flano thing's not going to happen. I don't know what the fuck else is going on in the news. Hey,
did you see that? Did you see documents have come out talking about how back when Swali'i was 15, right. Union could have signed him to a multi-year deal for $300,000.
So that was signing. Was that signing him from when he was still at Souths?
No. Essentially, it says that he would have signed a multi-year deal with Union for $300,000  5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they let him slip, and they've now signed him to a contract for 18 times that amount.
That's just good business from young Jojo.
That's it. So at the time he was 15, he was playing rugby at the King's School, performing well in league and basketball. They met with a few agents. One was going to deliver him to the Waratahs for $100,000 a year over 3 years. Right? And the offer was made to Rugby Australia. The most fascinating part about the pitch was that Swali'i would commit to rugby long term if he was taken on the end of year Wallaby Spring Tour in 2018 or 19 and allowed to train with the national squad when they were in Sydney.
And they didn't let him do that?
No. Now, look, I
costly.
I understand how a 15-year-old would feel entitled to be part of the Wallabies system, seeing as I think they just hand out those jumpers to absolutely fucking anybody.
Yeah.
I had to actually actively refuse one as I was walking past Suncorp Stadium one night when they were playing. They basically told him to fuck off and gave South the opportunity to sign him. So
and he's the opportunity to make him rich.
So, yep.
And now rugby get to make him richer.
And he's turned out to not be the superstar that they thought he would be at this age. So, interesting.
That's pretty good.
Talking head Tallis has come in on the Whiten deal.
No, fuck him. Don't
Said
even know.
It's unusual. Unusual. The deal's unusual.
Well, yeah, because if it was Gordon, he would have fucking taken the highest offer and sat out a year to get it.
Yeah. What a fucking dumb cunt.
I mean, that guy's the last guy should be talking about fucking integrity and contract negotiations and shit.
So I don't know if Manly are becoming the new Tigers, but they seem to be.
This week we are. This week we are for sure.
Do you see the thing about Moses?
Yeah, fucking. That's another bullshit one as well. Let's fucking talk about that. When Siebes was at the Broncos, and he inherited a large amount of this fucking roster, mind you. Apparently, there were 18 out of the top 30 were Isaac Moses clients.
Yeah. Yep.
At the moment, Manly has Siebes as Moses, and that's why the parallel and the connection with the Broncos thing was made because Siebes is manager as Moses as well. We got Siebes in coaching. We got Peter Jennell in pathways development. We've got Ben Condon, who was signed a month before Siebes was, so irrelevant. We've got Cooper Johns, who's on a fucking minimum wage deal for this year. We've got Woodsy, who's on a fucking deal that the fucking Dragons are carrying for the rest of this year. And that's fucking it.
There you go.
You can't inject the fucking Flano stuff into it because it didn't happen. It's not happening. And so when you think of when there's like, let's say half a dozen players in the team, two of which who've played first grade, only when there's injuries or other commitments because they're like third in the power rankings or whatever for their position. It's fucking ridiculous. So, I mean, they're obviously trying. They're trying to wind it up this week because it's Manly versus the Broncos this week, and it's a Siebes revenge game and blah blah blah. And like, I get it. We know how they operate with the Tigers. We know how they operate with all sorts of fucking news. But oh my god, like, why don't they talk about Mario Tartak? He's got fucking more players. He's got all the Polynesians in Manly's side. Schuster, Huali, Kohler, fucking all those guys. Tui Pilotu, fucking Jason Saab. Yeah. Like, he's got more fucking players than Isaac Moses has, but is Mario Tartak in control of the fucking club? It's fucking stupid. It's actually when you got one of the biggest managers in the game, and he's only got like a small percentage of the players in your fucking in the club. That's a good thing.
Absolutely.
If he had 18 of the fucking top 30, then obviously that's a fucking problem because that is a severe voting block or whatever control block
or
exert.
Even all you need is your three best. You don't
That's
even need 18 out of 30.
Yeah, we've got fringe fucking resis who come in and injury cover on deals to finish a season.
That's
not even like full fucking contracts. So like it's ridiculous.
News done. Slamming through it.
Right. Okay. So we get into the games for this week. Obviously it's Magic Round. We need to get the schedules. I guess we'll figure out when the games are being played. So you're in there on Saturday then?
Is this a good segue to say that we'll be at Hotel LA for Magic Round?
Yeah. Now, people who've been there in the past will know where we're talking about. It just seems to be the place that has become the place. We never really set it up that way. It just happened.
Oh, hang on. It's Hotel LA if you're a fucking OG, or the Lord Alfred
if you're new or a tourist. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been up for Magic Round before, or you haven't been out to see us or hang with the other listeners, the place to be is what's the road across the front there? Is it Petrie?
Caxton Street.
No, Caxton's one down. Was it Petrie Terrace, the one across the front of it? Yeah. So
it's at the top of Caxton Street. If you can't fucking figure it
it's
out,
on the corner. Yeah. No, but I mean, when you walk into Hotel A, you head out towards the back away from away from the Caxton Street side of the venue, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But before you get to the car park out the back, that back room there, that's generally where you'll find people, and I'm sure that there's. Look, let's not sugarcoat it. There's some fucking alcoholics that listen to this show, and they will be there probably drinking from like fucking 10 a.m. on Friday, holding down that place. So Grover, when you get there, just get in the usual place.
Walk around. Yeah,
put on some TWiL merch and sit in the normal place, will you? So that people know where to find you. And so what are your plans for this weekend, Stepdad? First, Panthers playing on Saturday. First game at 3.
Oh yeah.
So you're in Saturday?
No, will depend completely on when the kids' games are.
Right. Well, I'm going to be. I will be in there Friday afternoon and Friday night. Obviously, I'm going in to watch the Manly game. I'll also be in there Saturday afternoon. I probably will not be in there Sunday. Glennie, you coming down the hill on Sunday to watch the West Tigers?
Yes, I will. Chance I can't come Friday, but chance I may be able to get down Saturday afternoon/evening.
Nice.
Yeah, like on Saturday, I probably won't go to any of the games, and I'll probably be at the venue to if anyone wants to have a chat or whatever.
You know what? I don't even hate that. Like, how often do we get to catch up with listeners and fans?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I figure I'll be doing games on Friday night, and I'll be there to catch up with people, and have some beers or whatever on Saturday.
I don't know how many other people at Magic Round can say that they've seen their team win a fucking premiership at Suncorp. So, everything else pales in comparison to that. Penrith have won more grand finals at that ground than any other team in history.
Fucking hell. Anyway,
Yeah.
Let's talk about positive things. The Knights have a bye. So, yeah, that's a great thing. And presumably the Caxton Street precinct will be crystal clear and free of Newcastle Knights supporters. What with their man shakes and fucking steroids. The first game.
Can I just put out there very quickly? That cunt triggers me as well. The bullshit that he goes on with, selling his fucking man shakes. You can get exactly the same shit from a fucking low-carb whey protein isolate and a good multivitamin tablet for a third of the fucking price. Don't believe that bald cunt's hype. Fuck him. Continue on.
You could legitimately have like fucking 3 Nurophens and a McDonald's vanilla shake. And get the same nutrition.
Nutritional advice currently being sprouted by Nathan is not shared by the rest of the group.
Are you on the man shakes, Glennie?
No, I'm not. I'm on the fucking...
You're on the new ones that you release, those lady shakes, right?
I'm on the waddle up and down the touch football field as many times as you can and don't shovel as much shit in your face as you used to.
Sound. The Doggies take on the Raiders. First game, the 6 p.m. game, pub slot game, and fuck me, isn't it just? The Doggy side, they've lost Braden Burns to the injury you mentioned earlier. Harrison Edwards comes in. He's out, as well. Curtis Moran is out. So Carraz comes into the wing, Max King to the front row, and Franklin Pele to the bench. Raiders side, they have lost Albert Hopewate and Corey Harawira-Naira. Xavier Savage comes in on the wing, and Ata Mariota to the bench.
Raiders.
Why?
I reckon those losses hit the Raiders harder than they hit the Dogs. Or like the Dogs' outs have been serviceable for them, but Harawira-Naira has been the heart of that fucking Canberra team, even coming off the bench.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm tipping the Dogs this one.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Canberra Raiders have got enough to take care of the Doggies in their attack. I think the Doggies still have a heck of a lot of points in them. I don't think. And
I think a week removed from his big announcement, I think Whiten, he had a huge game last weekend, but I think this will probably settle him down. And I just think the Raiders are not by a huge degree, but I just think they're at this stage. I think they're a more solid unit than the Dogs, and they're looking so much better. I mean, I know it was just through to injury that this change was forced. It wasn't through to good coaching, but they're just so much better with the Wolford and Starling hooker rotation instead of, for whatever reason, fucking blindly, just allowing the other guy to play. Exactly.
Daniel Levy to play his trade. Xavier Savage returned as well. So easing him in on the... I mean, Chris has been pretty good lately in fullback, and I guess Savage has got to sort of ease his way back into first grade via the wing, but we'll see if he takes over at some point again.
Yeah.
Second game. So we're all on the Raiders on that one, or you went Doggies, didn't you?
No, you went Dogs. Yeah.
Right. I haven't looked at what the betting is. I haven't looked at the tipping sites or anything, Glennie.
Let's not until they want to pay us to fucking spread their bullshit.
$2.35 to the Dogs. Raiders $1.60 favourites.
Yeah, you don't have to tell us where those numbers come from, Glennie. Fuck you, pay us again.
Exactly.
The mighty Manly Seas Eagles revenge game versus the Brisbane Broncos. This one, it's a tough one. KO Weeks is out, thankfully, and I must say, he's almost a player that, I think I'd be happy to let him go now and become the next, Gutho. To be honest, Harper's out. Tuipulotu's out. All good moves so far, but then Jakey Turbo, he's out with a calf injury, which apparently could keep him out for up to 4 weeks. Toff Sipley is suspended for 3 weeks because of his fucking minute of madness last weekend. In comes Tommy Turbo. They say Brad Parker's back, which we'll get back. I'll talk about that in a second. Tolu Kola comes back, Ben Tavoyevich comes back, and Woodsy to the bench. Now, with Brad Parker, I know he didn't have to have surgery, but I was sure a week ago he had a 3 to 4 week knee injury. I mean, that fucking guy, what he lacks in talent, he absolutely fucking possesses in terms of regenerative surgery because I don't know if you remember this, but last year in the middle of the season, or sort of towards the before Origin period, he had an ACL injury as well. Didn't have surgery, and came back in came back in a matter of 8 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Like the fucking guy's got like the Wolverine fucking heal. I mean, I wish he could apply that to talent or something like that. But by God, the guy can heal. In my opinion, I don't necessarily know if he's actually 100% right and will play. I have a suspicion that Rubes will go to centre again, and we might get Ray Vega in, who's on the bench and has travelled up. He may play on the wing, and that's the lineup that I'd actually be most comfortable with at the moment in terms of our back line, with the current state of fit players and things like that. I really think you need a guy like Ray Vega who like Matai was or whatever. He's just an animal that will just hit cunt so hard that it makes him think twice about, they're in two minds when they're running that side of the field. And I think you need a guy like that to knock the shit out of, Reece Walsh and, just to make them think twice when they fucking drift around that way that, oh, fuck, this guy's out there, lurking somewhere. It's tough. Like, who's going to pick up the fucking tackling, the 50 tackles a game with no misses for 80 minutes of fucking Jake?
It's a slippery slope from his
Croker
ability.
Was out, because Croker was busted open last week in that game, and I thought that there might have been a chance that he was out too. And if you take Croker and Jake out of the middle, that's 110 tackles a game. It's like fuck So Croker's still there, so it should be okay. But I mean, there's no denying that there is a certain level of tackling and stuff in the middle. The Broncos will welcome back. Well, Jockey Madden's out, unfortunately. Kobe Hetherington's out. So Mam and Haas come back into the side, and Keenan Palacia goes to the bench with Payne Haas resuming his starting position in the front row, obviously. Look, I think this is one of those games where it's just the timing of injuries and everything like that. It's just played straight into the Broncos' hands, and I think this is just going to be another one of those games that can go, wow, it certainly fell their way. And honestly, if they can't get up, if Manly can't get up for this game, when can you fucking get up for a game?
Yeah.
But especially with the publicity around and all that sort of stuff, this week. But if they're not up for it though, fucking they could easily fucking get done by 40 if the Broncos get into that where everything sticks kind of thing. Because that's the one thing they've made a lot of mistakes. They missed a lot of tackles. Their completions hover around the 70% mark. But no matter how a game is going, the Broncos do have this ability to score fucking bunches of tries.
Yeah, they do.
Just to score them in threes. And, so if that sort of thing happens, there could be a very fucking long night. And I don't know. And with Jakey not there, when you need him to be dropping Payne Haas, who's probably having the best season a forwards had in fucking...
Yeah.
I don't know how long. I mean, the guy's making so many post-contact meters. He's offloading at will. He's going to get his entire career total of offloads in this season again. Plus, he'll be, he had a week off too, so fuckers fresh. So they really need to be. This needs to be like one of those Storm-esque games, or the game, like the game they played against the Rabbitohs in defence.
Honestly, I think the only effective game plan, and I don't know if Manly have time for this, but if they could maybe petition a court to give his mum her licence back
and drive him to the game.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, I am going to try. Hopefully, work permitting, I am going to try and get down to the open training session tomorrow as well, and just sort of see if they line up and see if Raymond's going to be in the side, or see how they're training. But I shall report back.
Nice
to everybody.
Yeah, Broncos.
So suffice to say, Manly 13 plus, maybe even more. A signature win on the season. Doing it for fucking Siebes. Doing it for Harvard. Doing it for people whose mums don't fucking kill cunts. Just in general.
Jesus.
You're talking about your Dally M there.
Hey, Glennie. It happened. It's real, it happened. Happened down near your way. Didn't it?
Toowoomba?
No, on the way. Didn't it? It happened down that way.
I thought it was near Jimboomba.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's closer to Glennie than me.
Fuck. Yeah. That's just ignorant.
It's like fucking Westish.
It's a shithole with 2 O's in the name. Same.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's practically the same place. Now you mention it.
Yeah.
It's
See,
it's like unelevated. It's like unelevated Toowoomba.
If it had happened in Toowoomba, they wouldn't have convicted her.
Yeah, true.
Because there's laws about culling pests on the road.
Yeah, she'd be the fucking mayor.
That's it.
The Warriors take on the Panthers, 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon. The Warriors side, they have lost Vialia and Freddie Lussick. In comes Charles Nickel-Klukstad to fullback. In comes Tohu Harris to lock. DWZ goes back to the wing. Montoya goes back to the centres. And Ukore goes to the second row. Josh Curran, second row of the bench. And Adam Fanua-Blake goes from lock to front row. The Panthers side, Eisenhuth out, Fisher Harris in. That's it.
Go. That's huge.
They didn't pull the panic. They didn't hit the panic switch after the devastating loss to the West Tigers. They're going to give the guys who played in that game another chance.
So, as long as the ball doesn't travel down David Peachey's side, then we'll be fine.
What's David Peachey going to do? Is he going to just not pay his contractors?
Tyrone Peachey. It's late.
To make him so angry that he misses tackles.
Yeah, look, again, I really hope that game last week was a wake-up for them and that we get some fucking intent because that Warriors side can potentially score, like you said about Brisbane, they have fucking points in them and they would be up and ready for this game. Penrith need to realise that they've got a fucking prize on their head as the reigning premiers. And that everyone is going to be up for them, and they better be further up. So, look, Penrith 13 plus, based on the fact that the Warriors are finished. They were finished by Melbourne. However, again, it's their game to lose, and unless there is some more fucking intent in their defence, especially, and some patience in their attack, there's a chance of doing it. But they'll be right. They'll turn that around, get back on top.
Yeah, I would expect the Penrith to win this game.
Same. I think that.
I don't think you even need any reasons. I mean, it's obviously the Warriors, they've got some good pieces back in, and Nickel-Klukstad does give them, that extra attacking.
I'll tell you,
extra skillful player they need.
Our good friend Levius better be making his way up from the fucking Gold Coast.
Yeah, agree.
To fucking bring us all some tren.
I was going to say some vitamin S.
Whatever his new fucking job is. He's eating these fucking trend bologna sandwiches for lunch.
He's looking like a fucking prime Paul Gallen.
And relive the fucking wonders of the last time we were together when the Warriors played the Panthers.
Was that the first time we met him?
I think so.
Time? Yeah, that was great.
I think it was.
And just recapping, the Warriors were leading probably like 18-0 or 18-6 in that game at halftime.
And he was fucking chirping.
And he was chirping. Yeah, and then the Panthers started clawing their way back, got the lead, ended up burying them, and to see him just fade as the game went on was hilarious. Okay, the next Saturday game, the Sharks take on the Dolphins, and the Sharky side. Braden Hamlin-Uele is out. Braden Trindle is out. Finucane comes in. McInnes moves from lock to the bench, and Royce Hunt moves from the bench to the front row. The Dolphins side. Robert Jennings is out. Ray Stone is out. Kurt Donohoe is out. Tessie New comes in. Milford to the bench. And Mason Teague to the bench.
Dolphins are serious outsiders against the Sharks.
Look, I understand it.
Yeah. I think they're going to be obviously very, very well supported in this game.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they'll be competitive again, which is a hallmark of the side as they progress through their first season. I'd really like to tip the Dolphins, but I just think the Sharks will be too strong.
Yeah. I'd like to see the Dolphins not have a terrible fucking start.
Yeah.
So the game is one of those more earlier season games where they're actually in it and grinding the whole time. But look, there's the Sharks have a lot of strike power at the moment, and they seem to be getting better, and just growing, with each additional week that they've got Nico in there, and I think they've got, I mean, you look at the Dolphins on paper, and there's just nothing there, but they've been finding a way to compete. But yeah, I just don't know about the Sharks. I think the Sharks will win this one fairly comfortably, much to the dismay of everyone in the rugby league community.
Because the Dolphins equal joy.
Correct. Right. Moving along to the Melbourne Storm take on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. This one is the 7:45 p.m. game on Saturday, and the Melbourne side, Tyron Wishart is out. Tom Eisenhuth comes into the bench. Grant Anderson to the bench. Tarek Sims goes from the front row to the bench, and Nelson goes from bench to front row. The Rabbitohs side, Moali is out. Liam Knight comes into the bench. Blake Tuffy to the bench. Jai Arrow goes front row to bench, and Totola bench to front row.
I expect Melbourne to lift. They've had their share of dodgy performances so far this season, but given the quality of their opposition in this game, I expect them to lift. I expect Bellamy to be well up for the game. And Munster to have a big one. But I just can't go past South. Just too solid across the park at the moment. Latrell, the form that he's in. We spoke about Campbell Graham before. South in a pretty close contest, mind you, but I think South will win.
Yeah, South's a form team in the competition at the moment. It's undeniable, and while the Storm have, they've shown improvement, and they're coming off a bye, I think, I think the Rabbitohs will get them. Yep,
agreed.
West Tigers take on the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Early game on Sunday afternoon, 1:50 p.m. The Tigers, they've lost Brent Naden, and in comes Kapoa to replace him. And Tommy Talau moves from the bench to the centre. So, good showcase for the future Manly Seabs Eagle. The Dragons side, this is fucking mystifying, and I'm glad this reminded me. So, the Dragons have had their problems, obviously. And Griffin's solution to those problems is to drop Zach Lomax, drop Little, drop Couchman, and drop Jaden Hunt. So then he brings in Rawalawa, Billy Burns, Jaden Sewer, and Jaden Sullivan. Bunch of changes as well, with Max Feeney going to centre, Michael Molo going to the bench, Jack Bird going to the lock, Jack DeBellin going to the front row. Now, look, Zach Lomax's goal-kicking percentage hasn't been incredible this year.
No, it hasn't.
But it's also been a factor that they've scored all their fucking tries out on the sidelines as well. I don't think he's taken a kick from anywhere closer than fucking 5-10 metres in from touch.
Yeah.
But his statistics from last week's game were fucking great. Tons of metres. And this is a guy who was placed on his less preferred side of the field at the start of the season.
Yep.
And he's got the shits now massively. Like he's been moved out of position. Still played pretty well. Scapegoated and dropped. And look, I think if Hook doesn't get the hook this year, I think he'll be somewhere else.
Yeah,
it does fucking boggle me that you have players whose entire fucking worldview, and I said this to a mate today, is that I play on this side of the field, and that means, to one of my sides, be it left or right, there is very little space, and to my other side, there is lots of space. And I am used to somebody coming at me generally from that direction. I tend to carry the ball under this arm and palm with this arm, and I tend to step back in towards more space.
Yeah.
And just go, let's take every fucking instinct they have and have developed over playing league in this team and just fucking reverse it.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's happened, and it's even happened at Penrith. Crichton switched sides. But he had some fucking dreadful games there, and he's a representative quality centre.
Yep. So, and he's still to this day, there are games where he's just fucking shocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hook loves a scapegoat.
Yeah.
And it feels that perhaps Lomax.
He's going to need a couple after this game because the Tigers are going to put 40 on the Dragons. Fuck the Dragons and fuck their fan base.
Now,
Tigers have never had a better chance to win 2 games on the trot.
I know we don't watch a lot of the fucking NRL TV shows.
Yeah. In fact, I watch exactly 0 of them.
Did you guys see anything where Lomax was bagging Hook? Or doing like an impression of him on one of them?
No. Oh, yes. There was one at the start of the season where a couple of the players.
He was with a prop.
Was it Hindy and Fletch?
Yeah, and who was the prop he was with? Was it Blake Laurie or something?
Yeah.
No, was Lomax in on that?
Has he been dropped as well? No.
No, he's starting prop.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So someone was saying today that Hook's got to fucking be in his bonnet about that.
Yeah, right.
But there's a sex offender starting the game in the front row. But hey, don't do impressions of me.
Yeah. Cut too close. Look, this is the best chance. I mean, if the Tigers play that solid possession, high completions, a lot of possession, rolling down from the 20 to 20, and then just convert a couple of those opportunities. If they play like they did last week, they'll fucking win this game, no problem, easily.
Yeah,
easily. It's gonna be dry up here on the weekend, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be perfect conditions. I mean, the field will be a bit choppy, but
I just, as good as and as happy as I was with their performance last weekend, the chance is there for them to start turning things around, and there's no better time to do it. It's a big occasion being Magic Round, an opposition that's not in great form and not a great side, even if they were in form.
Yep.
So this will be another dose of exactly what the Dragons fans deserve. Comprehensive defeat.
Put it this way, you look at the draw, and you go, oh, we got Parramatta, Manly, Panthers, Dragons. If you're circling any of those games for the most likely win that you're going to get across that run,
Penrith. Yep, gotcha.
You've done it. And then you look at the second most likely win, Dragons.
Yep.
2 from 2.
There you go.
West Brooksy has been unleashed.
It's too early to say.
And once he's been unleashed, it's very hard to leash him again.
To releash him.
When he starts pumping those little legs, I mean, you'd want to be fucking amazing fucking lasso work to get that little guy when his legs start pumping. His legs are so little, there's not much to lasso. So I expect Brooksy to have a huge game. Another 40-20. Couple of try assists. Nofaluma to get himself up to 110 tries.
Oh.
Good game all around for the Tigers. Next, the Roosters take on the Cowboys. 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. The Roosters side, they lose Momirovski and Fletcher Baker. They bring in Letters and Jake Turpin. Matt Lodge goes to the bench. Drew Hutchinson to centre. Cowboys side, Nanai out. Chester out. Lukey comes in. Finu Fuaki comes in to the bench. Jake Granville goes from lock to bench. Ruben Cotter goes from bench to lock. Roosters by how much?
Fucking no-brainer, the way the Cowboys have been going.
Yeah. I would agree.
Cowboys, $4 outsiders, the Cowboys.
Chad looking more like the player that the Sharks supporters thought the Cowboys were getting last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he was surprisingly great last year and a big but now he's really regressed, I think, back to what the Sharks saw last season.
But again, we talk a lot about individual form and they're up or they're down. But in the scheme of the entire team, it's hard for him to do what he did last year.
Chad's never been an individually
exactly.
Yeah, he's never been an individually brilliant guy.
Yeah,
he's a halfback in a typical sort of halfback mould, and in order for him to perform, he needs his forwards being dominant, so he can play off the back of it and organise. And he's just not getting that.
There you go.
Yep.
Roosters
by plenty. Titans take on the Eels. This one is the last game of Magic Round on a Lang Park surface that tends to get choppy after one game. So this is the minefield game of the round. The ACL game of the round. Syndesmosis City. The Titans side, they've lost Brimson. Cruz Leeming comes into the bench. Jaden Campbell goes from the bench and starts at fullback. The Parramatta Eels lost Sean Russell, Matt Dory, and Ofiki Ogden. They bring in Bailey Simonson to the centre. New recruit, Andrew Davey to second row, and Ryan Madison to the bench. Bryce Cartwright goes from second row to the bench.
I can't see Parramatta dropping this one.
No,
Same.
I can't either. The Titans are not a great side, and while the Eels haven't had the best of seasons so far, I think there is just a fundamental ability in their forwards to at least match what the Titans bring. And the class of the backs across the board is just, and the halves are just, I don't understand how Kieran Foran's playing. I feel like he's not 100%. Like there's some sort of injury in there somewhere. Or he's and like you can get away with that in like rain hampered games where attackers at a premium. Yep. But on what's likely to be a dry strip up here, where attacking football can be played, to its maximum.
And look, the Titans have had those games. Like they had the game against Melbourne where it was just a fucking shootout, and they have points in them.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not sure that. I think Parramatta will defend better than Melbourne did in that game.
Yeah, I think the Eels will win this by 20 easily.
At least.
Yep. All right, so that's it. That is 5:13. Hopefully this one fucking takes. If not, you're not even listening to what I'm saying right now. So let's hope that dear listener, that you're listening to this right now. If you'd like to go to thisweekinleague.com/links, you can get linked up to all of our social media sites, groups, communities, our patreon.com/TWiL. If you want to get into the game companions that we do, like especially the one from last week where you can listen to Glennie as he realises that the West Tigers are going to win their first game of the year, and it's over the Panthers no less. And can I tell you, it has spawned a couple of subscribers. So I just want to say a thank you to new patrons: Dean, Jack, where are we? David, Thomas, Scott, and Stuart. Welcome. And
Jesus Christ,
I hope you enjoy.
We're not doing too fucking well on the diversity stakes there, are we? Guarantee that I know what all of you cunts look like.
Well, hopefully, and hopefully, if you can surprise us, and we can have a chat over one of the 3 days of Magic Round.
Can you stop scaring away minorities?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a delight. I'm beloved by all.
Yeah.
Malaysia.
I'm just taking a call from Malaysia. Yes, sir. You're on the air.
This cunt.
Right. That's it for this episode. That was 5:13. Hopefully it sticks. See you on the weekend.
See ya.
And we'll all be in there on various days in Magic Round. So
Love it.
You'll have the chance. If you're in there from interstate and you didn't come in all 3 days, or international actually, as it turns out, this year we have a special international guest visitor. But
that's it.
Yep. Hope to catch up with you all, and we'll talk to you guys over the weekend.
There are some people I cannot wait to fucking see, and some others that I'm also very fucking excited to see for different reasons. So let's go.
All right. And so, I guess we'll see you guys on the weekend.
See ya.